Well, hi, hello, and how are you out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to the Tuesday Night Newsroom. This fun little thing we do where we get together, we talk about the news, we give our views, and we try to make our way through this crazy thing that we call life. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. I am sometimes known as the fine fella in the fedora. On occasion, I'm called the cat in the hat, sometimes referred to as the common man with common sense. But in this moment, above all else, I am your host. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So if you wouldn't mind, please do me some favors as always. Number one, if you're not a subscriber to this channel, please do so. Number two, please make sure that you are hitting the thumbs up on Rumble and on YouTube and leave a comment on this live stream. Believe it or not, it really does help with the algorithm and getting this pushed out there for people to see it, maybe that have never seen it before. Share the link around with your friends. Tell everybody about it. And do all those things you do. Hit the bell for notifications. Let's make sure you're always aware when we're going to be on the air or over the internet, as the case may be. Anyway, good to have you guys here tonight. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff going on in the news. You know, I always found it amusing when I first got into live streaming. Ma Trippett once asked me, she's like, aren't you worried about, not having enough to talk about? And I said, first of all, this is me. When have I ever not had something to talk about? And second of all, there's always something going on in the news. We've got some local stuff. We got some national stuff. We got some international stuff. We got a little bit of everything. And we are so glad that you guys are here tonight. And, it's never always, well, I shouldn't say never always quite the same. It's never quite the same. You never quite know from one episode to the next what you're going to get on this live stream. So we're going to sit down. We're going to talk to each other. We're going to talk about things, give our opinions, get your guys' opinions, and roll on down the road from there. All right, let's see who is in the house so far. Oh, my word, Jaeger the Bomb is here. Well, Jaeger, how you doing? Good to have you here. Gypsy's in the house. Mwah. Yeah, get the lanterns ready. Indeed. See who else is here. Ah, yes, he's making his presence known. Where is your bag of fast food? I will have you know, sir. I will have you know that I was able to eat a good meal before I got on camera. I had dinner somewhere around 5-ish, maybe, somewhere in there. Able to put down some steak tacos. So, and I even had a milkshake for a chaser. So it was good times all the way around, my friend. Good times all the way around. All right, let's see who else. TBA's in the house. He's back in the meme set. We're going to talk about that. Got a bunch of good memes for you guys. Matty Bracco is here he's from the Twitter side. Good to have you here, brother. Been a long time since I've seen you. Good evening, Miss Lana. You gorgeous thing, you. And let's see. Good evening, AH. We're glad to have you in the house tonight. Good to see you. Good to be here. Meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and carrots. Oh man, don't get me wrong. I like my tacos. They were great, but man, that sounds so much better. It really does. All right. And others are going to be rolling in here, no doubt. So good to have you guys here with us tonight. And lots of things to talk about. Like I said, we're going to get into all kinds of different stuff. But as we are wont to do, we will begin our show with the merry memes. Now, recently, there has been I don't know quite if you want to call it friendly competition or just plain competition between WWG1 and TBA about who is providing the most memes to the live stream. Now, normally it's WWG1, and his reign is supreme as far as being the king of the meme. However, TBA has been giving him a lot of competition these days. Well, I don't know what quite happened, but one or the other of them took it a little too far, maybe a little more seriously than they should have, because lots of ugliness has been flying around, and TBA found this painted on one of the mirrors of his house. We're not saying it was WWG1. Let me just be very clear about this. We are not in any way, shape, or form accusing WWG1 of doing this. However, all I'm going to say is this. Like Rodney King from old, why can't we all just get along? Really? It's memes, guys. Come on. Oh, my goodness. Well, I don't disagree with you, sir, which sort of makes it even more the strange. Wait a minute. You're saying he did accuse you of being a whore? Oh, my word. Well, sir, surely WWG1, you're not going to let that go unchallenged. My word. That's just, oh, my gosh. Goodness gracious me. I tell you what. Masculine Meat Mountain. Well, I'm good, sir. How are you tonight? And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not subscribed to this guy right here, what in the world is the matter with you? Sean is one of the hardest working representatives of his fine nation to the north, the great Canada. The guy is streaming 6 days a week. He's just killing himself out there. Give this guy a subscription on Rumble. Give him a subscription on YouTube, but more certainly Rumble, because that is his platform of choice. So please help him out. By all means, subscribe to his channel. He is a good man and definitely a fun follow. His stream is very entertaining. If you want something totally off the wall and will make you laugh, you really need to subscribe to Third Railify. Absolutely above all else. Let's see. Well, WWG1 has responded. I know where TBA lives. Don't worry about him, Brian. This is about to get oh dear. Ladies and gentlemen, we may have an internet throwdown here between WWG1 and TBA. Oh my goodness. It's about to get bad, folks. It's about to get bad. It's getting bad to the bone. My word. Well, we got some Joe Biden news. As you guys are aware, or maybe aware, I think we mentioned it here on the live stream. Joe has received a contract for about $10 million for the purchase or for the publishing of his presidential memoir. And good for him, because apparently, unlike a lot of his predecessors who are now former presidents, Joe Biden is having a hard time, making money, in civilian life. And that's not just me saying that. A lot of people have been saying that as well, that apparently the economic opportunities for Joe Biden are not as plentiful as they were for, say, Barack Obama or, Donald Trump when he was out of the presidency, George W. Bush, etc. Well, they have figured out that they've settled on the price tag for what a publishing house is going to pay him for his presidential memoir, which is about $10 million. But they couldn't quite figure out the title until today. The title of the presidential memoir for Joe Biden is now out, and it's called "I Was President: The Joe Biden Story." So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I'm not going to tell you what books to buy usually, but this one I have a feeling is going to be absolutely scintillating for all the details that are not included. Why? Because he couldn't remember what they were. Yeah, you were close. You were close, my dear. Very, very close indeed. Yeah, that's probably true. Well, maybe it's going to be Jill. I mean, crap, she ran the White House anyway. Now, you joke about this, but I've got a true story. Many years ago, and I don't know if you guys even would remember this guy's name. Jim Wright was a former congressman from Texas back in the 70s and 80s, and he went on to become Speaker of the House. He wrote a book, and turns out a lot of the pages were just blank. And Newt Gingrich, before Gingrich became speaker back in his rebel rousing days, got a hold of a copy of the book and started showing it to the press. Guys, this thing's just empty. Literally, I mean, basically, it was one of the worst pay for play schemes anybody ever come up with. Some publishing house paid him however many millions of dollars, and most of the pages were blank. Kid you not. Go back and look at it. Well, now see, you're absolutely right about that, my friend, because look, getting a book deal in DC is one of the ways that the system tends to try to enrich the politicians, and the politicians try to enrich themselves. So, if somebody gets a book deal, somebody is really getting their palm greased. That's all I'm saying. Oh, yeah, that's absolutely a great way to launder money. I totally agree with that. Anywho, so yeah, we got a title for Joe Biden's book. Good for him. Now, it's been talked about quite at a length about our need for skilled labor here in the United States. And there's so much need for it that we are importing as many different folks as we possibly can, even from, all over the world, to try to get, carpenters, electricians, masons, etc. here in the country, welders especially. However, I'm not so sure if, the best and the brightest are coming from overseas. For example, here's a gentleman, and I think he needs to go back and work on his technique, and I think you'll understand what I'm talking about. Check this out. So, okay, he gets the idea. Hey, I need a better position to tack weld this. Okay, so he tack welds it and realizes, whoops, I can't get out. Help me. Oh, boy. Yeah. The best and the brightest, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, buddy. A little scary. All right. People of a certain age, myself, oh, well, I didn't know you were a welder, sir. I did not know this. Oh, my goodness. Sean has many different talents, and you can find out about them when you catch him on his live stream, usually 10 p.m. Eastern on his channel on Rumble. That's where you'll hear him talk about his many different contributions to the world. But, people of a certain age are going to appreciate this next one maybe more than anybody else. Times change, so do tastes, so do how we consume certain things. I mean, for example, music. Back in the day, we had vinyl records. Then we got slick, and we went to 8 tracks. Then we got even more slick, and we went to cassette tapes. And then we came up with what we thought was the ultimate. We came up with the compact disc. You guys remember these babies? Mm-hmm. Here's one that it's an anthology of big band swing music. Mm-hmm. We thought this would be the living end. Well, now, heck, if you can find a CD player, it's rather amazing. But, now you've got all these compact discs. What the heck do you do with them? Well, somebody came up with a really good idea for what you use them for. For example, this guy decided he needed a pizza cutter, so he grabbed his Bryan Adams CD. And you know what? This thing was so effective. Cuts like a knife, man. Cuts like a knife. Yeah, yes. Very, very true. So never let it be said that some things go out of style. Well, maybe it's better to say they may go out of style, but that doesn't mean that they go out of use. You can always find a use for your CDs, especially if you own a Bryan Adams. Because remember, baby, that will cut like a knife. I'm here all week, folks. Try the veal. Anyway. Oh, I get a golf clap for that one? Wow. It's a rough audience, man. That's all I'm saying. Isn't that an oxymoron? Big band swing music on a CD. Well, I don't know. I mean, look, I mean, I have a fondness for music of a certain era. This is like what is this, like 1930 to 1955? There's some really good stuff on here, like um St. Louis Blues. What else we got on here? 1 O'Clock Jump is always a great song. You Rascal You. Oh, there's all kinds of stuff on here. Not necessarily. You can still take that era of music and put it on a compact disc. How dare you, sir? How dare you? Oh my goodness. Such closed-mindedness on this live stream, I tell you. Oh boy. Now, this one I'm going to put up here just because, and there's no sense even trying to introduce this. But I will add one slight comment. You have to appreciate the sense of humor from folks who work at Home Depot. Okay. If you happen to find cans of stripper and there's some dollar bills around it, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, there you go. There you go. WWG1, I knew there's all kinds of reasons why I like you. And brother, this is more proof of why it is you are an OG wingnut. There you go, sir. There you go. So yeah, if you happen to be strolling through Home Depot, just nod your head and smile when you come across this. I mean, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. There you go. All right, what else do we have in the way of the merry memes? I think we got 2 or 3 more here. It is amazing. It is amazing what certain food allergies will prevent you from being able to enjoy. And it's really kind of a shame, truly. Really is a shame. I mean, for example, peanut allergies or just allergies to certain nuts in general. I mean, it can knock you out of doing so many different things that you might otherwise enjoy doing that other people get to do. I mean, or not just that, it might even knock you out of certain occupations in life. I mean, for example, this kid went and told his dad he has an allergy to nuts. Well, guess what? Poor kid now figures out he'll never be able to work in Washington, D.C. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? The kid's going to be scarred for life here. Absolutely terrible, my friends. Absolutely terrible. I mean, I feel sorry for this child. I really do. I mean, never will he ever be able to work in Congress. Ever. Won't be able to run for office, won't be able to do anything. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Just sad. Truly sad. Democrats. Yeah. Sorry about that, folks. I can't blame that one on technical problems. That's just a host screw up. Anyway, it's amazing what Democrats will pay attention to and what they'll ignore. It is really kind of shocking in some respects. I mean, somebody came up with a really good way to understand what it's like. I mean, Democrats not paying American soldiers, never pay attention to it. Democrats, not worrying about paying American workers, paying government debt. But when it comes to not paying illegals health care, whoa, they're wide awake on that one. Yep. Yep. There you go. There you go. So, okay, I just totally got I just totally got flabbergasted by commenters between TBA and WWG1 over there. It's like, oh, I'm not even going to get into that. Boys, you're on your own with that one. Anyway, all right. Thanks to WWG1, and thanks to everybody who's contributed to the merry memes. As always, please do me some favors. If you have a meme, or even a story for that matter, a news item that you think is worth checking out, well, do me a favor. You see this right over here? That is my Twitter handle. Tag me on Twitter. Send me a DM. All kinds of ways to get a hold of me. But if you have a meme or even a news article that you think, let's talk about it. All right, shoot it at me. Of course, the host reserves the right to use or not use what you provide. But hey, take a shot at it. Let's find out if we can get it up here for you. All right. Biggest story coming or going right now is the peace deal that Trump brokered in the past, 96 hours? I guess since last, Wednesday or Thursday? Yeah, last Wednesday, actually. And this has been remarkable on so many levels. I mean, and you could almost, some people would argue, wow, this happened so fast. No, this one's been building for a while. Certain events would lead to certain events, and certain events would lead to certain events. And now we've got this peace deal. And while everyone is understandably enjoying the moment, in other words, hostages who are alive are now going home to be with their families. The remains of hostages no longer alive are being returned to their families so they can give them a proper burial, pay their last respects, and at least, although they may not have their loved one returned to them alive, at least they have the peace of mind of knowing, okay, we can put it to bed. They can get, while not the best way to do it, they'll have closure. We have a silencing of guns in the Middle East for the first time in a while. And while we're all enjoying that, there are implications coming off of this that I don't think a lot of people are stopping to consider. And that, more so than focusing on the deal, that's what I want to talk about tonight. The ramifications of what's happened, I don't think are fully realized by a lot of people. Now, this audience is quite obviously smart enough to figure it out. So I thought, well, let's just dive right into it, talk about it. And Lana, I absolutely agree with you on this. It is killing the Democrats that Trump pulled this off. I mean, totally. So where does it go from here? Well, first, I do want to take a brief look at what this peace deal consists of. And I got an article here, and I'm going to drop this in chat on both sides. I'm going to drop this on the Rumble side. I'm also going to drop it on the YouTube side for y'all. Oh, well, there it is. It's popped up for everybody. But just in case, there we go. Yeah, on YouTube and Rumble. And I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I put this out. It's from the BBC. It is a complete listing of what is in this 20-point plan that Donald Trump laid out a while back. So I'm going to pop this up on screen and just go over some of the highlights. Okay. And this is from like about almost a week ago. All right. And the plan consists, about the first 4 or 5 steps have already been realized. Gaza has been cleaned out of its radicals. It'll be redeveloped. And point 3 is, if both sides agree to this, the war ends immediately. Well, we're there. It's done. Both sides are saying it's over. Point number 4, within 72 hours, Israel publicly accepts the agreement. All hostages alive, deceased, will be returned. Number 5, hostages are released. Israel releases 250 life sentence prisoners, along with 1,700 Gazans who were detained after October 7th of 23. We're now more or less into, I guess, points 7 and 8. Upon acceptance of the agreement, full aid will be immediately sent into the Gaza Strip at a minimum. Aid quantities consistent what was included in a January 2025 agreement, humanitarian aid, rehabilitation of infrastructure, etc. Entry into the Gaza Strip will proceed without interference. Now, there is one part of this I want to focus on for a second. And this is number 16. Israel will not occupy or annex Gaza. Now, I want to stop here for a second. This may be, now a lot of people are saying, "Oh, we got a peace deal," and look at Hamas. They're weak and they've got nothing and yada 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 and blah blah blah. And yeah, there may be some of this too. Maybe Trump did tell Hamas, "You better get in line or he's going to let Bibi off the leash." On the other hand, I'm not so sure if Trump is threatening to let Bibi off the leash, or if Trump didn't just tighten the choker collar around Bibi's neck. Because remember, okay, basically, the Israelis have to play nice with their neighbors now. Now, you might sit there and say, "Oh, you're being awful negative about Israel." I have said before, and I'll say again, I don't have a problem, one, with the people of Israel. It's their government I got a problem with, particularly Benjamin Netanyahu. And there was a time I had a lot of respect for Netanyahu. More and more, I am of the mind that he's gone hog wild and pig crazy. I mean, I get defending your nation, especially when you're surrounded by a lot of people that want to kill you. On the other hand, I've got real problems with the violation of ceasefire agreements. I got real problems with firing off missiles and rockets into civilian areas. A lot of things that Netanyahu and his government are accused of doing, I got serious problems with. Well, we're supposed to support Israel. No. With one caveat. When they act correctly, I don't just support Israel for the sake of supporting Israel. I mean, and part of my support of Israel is as much theological as it is political. Okay. In the traditions that I grew up in and the education that I received, hey, you back Israel no matter what, because they're God's chosen. Okay. And I would still accept that premise that they are God's chosen. On the other hand, that doesn't mean I don't call their hand on it when I see them doing wrong. Trump, with this peace deal, has more or less put a choker collar on Bibi Netanyahu for a while. Now, does that mean, Netanyahu might not go off and do something crazy? Possible. Could he be provoked into doing something? Yeah. I mean, look, we've got peace at the moment. Okay. How long it lasts? Well, that's kind of up to the Israelis and the Palestinians. But at the moment, we've got peace. Let's see how long it takes. Now, this is very true. This is very true. Oh, and I think this is another great point. Another great point indeed. I mean, I've seen more polling in the past, I guess maybe 12 to 18 months amongst young people in the United States. Support for the nation of Israel is probably at its lowest level ever that I've ever seen in my lifetime. I've never seen anything quite like it. But what did Trump do that had never been done before to kind of get this deal across the line? Well, I want to give you something else to read at your convenience. I got a story here. Well, not really a story. It's an article from Victor Davis Hanson, writing in the news publication American Greatness. He wrote a piece the other day, and I'm going to just go over the highlights of this. let you guys have a look at. The piece is called, ironically enough, The Pieces of Trump's Peace. Trump's unorthodox mix of pressure, power, and pragmatism shattered old diplomatic molds, delivering a rare moment of calm to the world's most combustible region. Again, by the legendary Victor Davis Hanson, we've got the following. Let me bump this up a little bit. Easier. There you go. That's better. What did Donald Trump do differently to obtain at least temporary calm in the Middle East compared to the failed efforts of past administrations, foreign powers, and the United Nations? Let us count 10 different approaches. Now, like I said, I'm not going to read all this, but I will read parts of it. Number one, Trump curtailed a considerable amount of Iranian oil income and its dispersal. He stopped, for the near future, the Iranian efforts to build a bomb. Trump also allowed Israel to destroy Tehran's air defenses, humiliate it militarily, and eliminate many of its top military officers and nuclear physicists. Number two, Trump allowed Netanyahu to destroy Hamas, cripple Hezbollah, and retaliate at will against the Houthis. That liberation led to the general dejection among Israel's enemies and a resurgence in Netanyahu's own political fortunes. Number three, Trump also leveraged all of his benefactions to Israel by pressuring it to agree to a ceasefire. Number four, Trump used the Abraham Accords and his much maligned tariffs, along with expanding or curtailing commercial access into U.S. markets, to pressure or persuade the Gulf and modern Arab states to ensure funding for Gaza reconstruction. Number five, Trump, in a carrot and stick approach, promised a defense protection pact with Qatar, the proverbial untrusted wild card in the Middle East. And on it goes with this. So it's a good article, and I really will recommend it to you. Now, everybody knows about the peace deal itself, and everybody knows about what's in it, but I don't think everyone is stopping to consider the implications. I want to play 2 or 3 clips and get your guys' take on this, okay? And the first one is an exchange between Steve Bannon and Jack Posobiec on Bannon's show War Room on Real America's Voice Network. They were talking about the deal, and I think this was Monday when the clip was played. Folks, do me a favor. I want you to listen to this because I definitely want to talk about this a little bit. So check it out.
Let me be blunt. This is the beginning of first of all, it's a massive defeat from Netanyahu and his side. You're having a two-state solution, and this is what the afternoon's about, peace in the Middle East. You're going to have the Gulf Emirates finance it with their cash, Qatar and UAE, but also the Saudis. You're going to have the Turks, which have the most advanced army in the Muslim world. They're going to provide the security guarantee. They're going to coordinate the UAE and others. And America may have some sort of coordinating thing from Doha at the beginning, but supposed to transfer it all. So you're going to have Muslim and Arab troops with a foothold in Israel, in Gaza. Most importantly, the 2 million are not this plan that was in you talked about earlier about and Ben did, about how this thing shifted so quickly. In the middle of July, there was open discussion about the removal of all 2 million Palestinians, and they go live in the Sinai, right? Or somehow they're going to go to Ethiopia. That's all off the table. So you're going to have a proto-Palestinian state and a two-state solution right there. Also, part of the deal is no further development from Israel's side in Judea Samaria, which you could argue is one of the biggest historical roots of Israel.
Okay. I say that people have not stopped to consider everything this peace deal means. Do you realize that Donald Trump has pulled off something that Democrat presidents have been trying to get for years? And not just Democrat presidents, but diplomats, intellectuals have been arguing that it was the only way to make peace in the Middle East. And that was a two-state solution, a state for a country for Israel and a country for the Palestinians. And everybody at one time or another has tried to get this to work. Everybody. I mean, I remember, I'm old enough to remember, Bill Clinton bringing former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak and then Palestinian Liberation Chairman Yasser Arafat to Camp David. They were up there for like 3 or 4 days. And Ehud Barak and Clinton offered Yasser Arafat everything he could have wanted. They offered him half of Jerusalem. They offered him the West Bank. They offered him everything. The Gaza Strip, complete control of all of it. Everything Yasser Arafat and the Palestinians said they'd wanted for decades on a silver platter. Arafat turned it down. Clinton couldn't believe it. And for decades, we need a two-state solution. We need a two-state solution. Guess what? The deal that Donald Trump just put in place accomplishes what everybody's been trying to get done for probably 40 years. You now have the beginnings of a two-state solution in the Middle East. One piece of land for Israel, one piece of land for the Palestinians. And worse yet, if Benjamin Netanyahu has any ideas about trying to get his hands on the Gaza Strip for the nation of Israel, that's now off the table. That idea is gone. Forget it. Ain't happening. Not going to do it. Can't pull it off. Why? Because if Netanyahu goes back on this deal, not only has he got the entirety of the Middle East up in arms against him, the U.S. will just I won't say turn their back, but they're going to be like, forget it. You're on your own, big boy. Friend or not, we set this deal up not just to help the Palestinians, but we also did this to help you and the people of Israel. If you screw this one up, it's on you. Everybody's focusing on the fact that, Hamas and the Palestinians, they've been brought to heel. I'd argue it's also equally true. Netanyahu's been brought to heel. Trump's found a way to basically box the guy in. Because Bannon brings up a really good point. It wasn't but 2 months ago people were talking about, well, maybe we can find a way to get all the 2 million Palestinians out of the Gaza Strip and we can relocate them somewhere in the Middle East or Africa. No, that's off the table now. Forget it. Forget it. Ain't happening, folks. Want to play one more clip. And this is Ben Harnwell, who is the foreign correspondent for the War Room. And he had, I'm not going to play this whole clip, but he had a really interesting exchange with Steve Bannon. And I really want to get you guys' take on this, because I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts, and then I want to hear your comments and chat. So here you go.
Look, there was in that press conference today something that President Trump said very quickly, very innocuously, and I wrote it down as quickly as I could. So this is an on the spur of the moment transcription of what he said. So I'll allow for myself to be corrected if we get a full verbal at a later point. To refresh the War Room, he was asked a question, President Trump was asked a question about whether Iran is going to be involved in any way moving forward with the peace. And he said that he complimented very highly the Iranian people, said he wanted to lift the sanctions. And then, Steve, he said this, because he mentioned the bombing of the nuclear plant. And he said, if we didn't bomb them, the nuclear plant, we wouldn't have this agreement here today. Now, what I'm going to say to that is, whoever has ears to hear, let them listen. That is, I think, 1,000% a thesis, confirmation of the thesis that the War Room mentioned this morning, and you mentioned it sort of repeatedly in the morning, Steve, and again on the show today, on this show now. That's really what really did it for Bibi Netanyahu. What the tide turned was when they deceived President Trump into bombing Iran, right? That I think when he realized that not only the Bibi, but also Bibi stooges in the United States, the Israel First crowd, as you've said repeatedly today, they overplayed their hand. That is why we are here today. That is how Bibi must be wondering, because a couple of weeks ago he was looking at the possibility of doing a full military invasion in Gaza, like as a precursor to annexing the Strip.
Oh no!
He must be wondering how exactly did he succeed in snatching defeat out of the jaws of victory, and it's because of this. And I think President Trump confirmed it now.
You know, and that's a really good point. When that bombing of the nuclear facilities in Iran took place, I was most certainly not happy about it. Because I thought, like a lot of people, that Netanyahu had played Trump, played him like a fiddle. And it may have been, and maybe that's what happened. Maybe that is indeed what happened. But if it did, I think Ben Harnwell is absolutely right. Trump realized he got played. And he's like, I'm not going through this again. I'm not letting Netanyahu do this to me one more time. Now, was Trump, I think, working to try to get a deal? Sure. But if he had any incentive to get it done, realizing what Netanyahu was setting up, and that is the idea of a full-scale invasion of the Gaza Strip, he's like, nope, we're not going to let this happen, and he's not going to do this to me again. That bombing of the nuclear facilities in Iran may have done more to open Donald Trump's eyes to what he was dealing with Netanyahu. Because I mean, Harnwell's absolutely right. I mean, and the reports were quite public, that we're the Israeli IDF was preparing to full scale invade Gaza, one end of the Strip to the other, and just squeeze the remaining Palestinians out. And now it's off the table. Many would argue that Netanyahu overplayed his hand. I'm starting to wonder if that's not really what happened here. Oh, I agree with that. Totally. And and it may very well be that's what happened here. That's very well be that's what happened. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Totally true. Could be. That's possible. That's altogether possible too. Like I said, there's a lot that goes into what's happened since last Wednesday till now. And I don't think people are realizing the full ramifications of what all this means. Plus, there's one other point about this. And this comes from Bill O'Reilly. And he brings up something I don't think anybody's thought about. Okay. Yeah, we're all focusing on the Middle East. Bill O'Reilly makes a point. This isn't what happened since last Wednesday till now isn't necessarily just about the Middle East, although that's where it directly impacts the most. But there's another point to be made, and I want to pop this up on screen. Hi, MP, how you doing? Hamas is going woke faster than Israel, so I see Israel grew in strength and the Palestinians lost power. Could very well be. Could very well be the case. And MP, welcome to the Electronic Front Porch. We're glad to have you here. Hope you stick around with us for a while, not just tonight, but going forward in the future. We'd love to have you as a member of the community. Voices of all kinds are always welcome, so long as everybody's respectful to everybody else. You can pretty much say whatever you want. But I want to play this clip from Bill O'Reilly, and I really want to get your guys' perspective because everybody's focusing on the Middle East, But there is something larger going on here. And let's see what you guys think of it.
Trump now wins over the entire Arab world. They're all behind the United States. Huge to fight terrorism. But here's the most important point for News Nation viewers tonight. You'll get this nowhere else. Donald Trump's power worldwide has just increased about 1,000%. But he's going to Korea to talk to Xi. Xi and the Chinese know that he has the Arab world and the Middle East on his side. China needs the Middle East, even though they're temporarily buying oil from Russia, okay, and Iran. They need the Middle East. They can't afford to alienate the Arab nations. All right. But Trump's going in with a big advantage, and he's looking at Xi and he's saying, listen, the whole world is now coalescing around the United States. NATO, EU, Middle East, you got to get on board. You got to stop all this stuff and become a partner with the USA for world peace and prosperity. That's what I did in May. That's why I was in Beijing, to lay that groundwork. If Xi does that, and I believe he will because the Chinese economy is going south faster than New Yorkers are getting out of the city going to Florida, okay? I think she's looking for a way. But part of the negotiation is going to be, you, China, got to get out of the Putin business, right? OPEC will replace the Russian oil. But you have to stop supporting Putin to end the Ukrainian war. That's the deal that is going to emerge. And that's the importance. It is all linked together.
I'll give you one more. The
China,
fact that, I'll give you one more.
Trump now.
Okay, that's a really good point. And I have no idea, for the record, I have no idea if Bill O'Reilly is right or wrong on that one. It's a speculation, but it does make sense. You know, a lot of people say that Donald Trump plays, 7D chess. Well, that's not always true, although Trump is a very strategic thinker. And there are also times he just shoots off at the mouth, don't we all? But O'Reilly does bring up a pretty good argument. Okay, Trump's got temporary peace in the Middle East. I'm not trying to throw cold water on what's been done. I'm just saying, knowing that region of the world, man, it would take nothing for things to get hot real fast. But for the moment, we've got peace in the Middle East. Okay? What if Trump goes to Xi and goes, look, dude, it's real simple. You need Middle Eastern oil. Right now, they got my back and I got theirs. Okay? Listen, this thing in Ukraine's got to stop. You guys are buying Russian oil. Why don't you lay off buying the Russian oil? I'll talk to all these guys in the Middle East, see if we can't get you guys set up here and help out. We killed two birds with one stone. Now, do I know that's going to happen? And no idea. Possible. It's possible that it could. But if O'Reilly is correct, this peace deal gives Trump a lot of negotiating room in a lot of different areas. Okay. Does this necessarily mean that the Ukraine war is going to stop overnight? No. But it does give Trump the chance to now focus on one conflict, which is Ukraine-Russia. Get that one off the table, and we're cooking. And TBA, my friend, we know you got to leave early, but good night, brother, and thanks for stopping by tonight. Yeah, I'm kind of like you. I don't know about 7D Uno, but I'm with you there. So, yeah, it's possible. I mean, could it happen? I don't know, but I think O'Reilly's got a really good take. he may be absolutely right. We'll see what happens with this. We will see. But I mean, they no doubt about it. Democrats, Republicans, everybody are rightfully praising Donald Trump for what's happened. And it's something. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. You know, we will see. And I also want to get your other comment on here, MP. Israel didn't do well on world favor though. See, I totally agree with that. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier before you got in the room. I've never seen polling so bad against the government of Israel. I mean, among young people, like let's say age 30 or younger, man, support for the government of Israel as currently constituted, man, it's in the toilet. I've never seen it this bad, ever. And I will argue that's primarily because of the way Netanyahu's handled the whole thing over the past 2 years. You know. Oh, and I think Vivek Ramaswamy is absolutely right. Here's the kicker to this. And right now, there is the beginnings. Yeah, I shouldn't say the beginnings. There's a very cozy but wary sort of relationship between the Russians and the Chinese, which is really the opposite of what we, the United States, have been trying to do ever since the 1970s. Nixon started a policy where he tried to drive a wedge between China and Russia. And for the better part of 50 years, it worked. And then what happened? Biden came along, helped start this war in Ukraine. And yes, I blame Biden for a lot of it. Not all of it, but some of it. And then what happens? Then you've got the Russians running right into the arms of the Chinese. We put sanctions on Russia on practically everything they produce. The Chinese are like, hey, you want to buy oil from us? You want us to buy your oil? Well, we'll do it. No problem, man. Drove the Russians right into the arms of the Chinese. And yeah, I think Vivek Ramaswamy is absolutely right. We have got to get back to what we had. A wedge between China and Russia, if for no other reason than to keep the Chinese in line. And it's interesting you bring up Vivek because that kind of leads to our next topic of the evening. And actually, Lana, this one is in your neck of the woods. I got a message from the lady today, and she said, hey, have you heard about what's going on in my hometown, Cincinnati? I was like, oh, really? What's happening? She's like, you want to talk about this? Well, wait a minute. What's this? Hang on. Before I get to that, salty old fart and good evening to you, sir. Did you see the Republican voter registration eclipse Democrat 350-1 in California? Hey, tag me on Twitter with a link to that. I want to see it. I had not seen that, but I'm curious about that. Tag me. I want to read that. I really want to read that. Anyway, the lady messaged me that, you want to talk about what's going on in Cincinnati? I was like, yeah, shoot me some stories. Well, this first one happened. Oh, what was this? This happened last night, actually. As you guys might remember, back during the summer, there were various troubles in the city of Cincinnati, the Queen City. And last night, some violence happened that nobody could imagine, especially in a town like Cincinnati. I got a headline here from WLWT, Channel 5 in Cincinnati. 2 shot at a restaurant on Fountain Square, 24-year-old suspect identified. Story by Matthew Dietz. Cincinnati police are working to get answers after 2 people were shot in the heart of downtown Monday night. The shooting happened shortly before 8 p.m. at the Big City Tenders restaurant on Fountain Square. Cincinnati police said 2 people were shot and suffered non-life-threatening injuries. One of the victims is a 16-year-old boy and the other is a 19-year-old man. One of the victims was taken to Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and the other was taken to University of Cincinnati Medical Center. Both have non-life-threatening injuries. Police Chief Terry Thieg said 2 people were taken into custody in connection with the shooting. The shooting began as a verbal altercation after near Clifton that continued into downtown and into the restaurant before shots were fired. The police shared information on the 23-year-old suspect seen firing the shots. They did not identify him by name, but said a warrant has been signed on charges of felonious assault and having weapons under disability. Thiedig shared he's currently under probation for prior assault earlier this year. No newcomer to crime, Thieg said. Investigators said no employees at any nearby businesses were injured, including City Bird. So that happened last night. Well, now it's reached the point that, and this is a story from earlier today, actually about 3 hours ago now. The mayor of Cincinnati is deploying SWAT teams to Fountain Square in Cincinnati and calls for an earlier curfew. Again, a story by one of the digital media people, Emily Sanderson at WLWT Channel 5 in Cincinnati. Mayor Aftab Perival says, quote, significant changes are coming after recent violence downtown. 2 people were injured after a shooting at a restaurant on Fountain Square Monday. Perival addressed the shooting, calling it completely and utterly beyond the pale and intolerable. Perival announced new efforts to combat crime, including deploying SWAT and the city's civil disturbance response team to Fountain Square. He said police efforts include more walking beats, shutting down a liquor store on Fountain Square, and turning into a surveillance station. Violence still persists. Perival said SWAT and civil disturbance response team will be on Fountain Square from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day. The mayor said the city and state officials will be increasing their presence downtown starting Tuesday. Perival also shared he's putting forth legislation for an even earlier curfew, saying teens breaking curfew will be arrested. Now is the time for significant change. Yeah, dear. And I'm sure you'd already heard about this story, but this is really just kind of sad on so many levels. So many levels. Matter of fact, we got a statement here from Brittany Miller, who's the CEO of Jeff Ruby Culinary Entertainment. Let me see if I can enlarge this for you guys. There we go. That's better. And I'll let you guys read it. Like so many community leaders and citizens, I am deeply frustrated not only by the violence that occurred on Fountain Square last night, but also by the continued pattern of crime our city has experienced in recent months. Over the past 3 months, I have dedicated significant time meeting bi-weekly with the mayor and staying in close connection with CPD, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, Governor Mike DeWine's team, and Senators Moreno and Husted, including conversations as recent as this morning. I am hopeful that within the next 24 hours, there will be an announcement outlining a robust strategy to address these ongoing issues. While we may not see eye to eye, I am grateful that our city leadership listens and remains open to feedback. I also want to acknowledge that I am not the only business leader stepping up. This has been a heavy lift for all of us, and many key leaders across our city share this sentiment and are working tirelessly behind the scenes to drive meaningful change and restore safety and confidence downtown. I have made a personal commitment not to join the noise or the bandwagons, but instead to channel my frustration into fuel to be part of the solution for the greater city of Cincinnati. Now is the time. Change only happens when the pain of staying the same exceeds the pain of change. No further comment will be provided for the next 24 hours. So yeah, it's not good. Not good at all. And then you have this really, really tough response from the chief of police. Let me tell you, when this lady talks, you criminals out there, you thugs, you whatevers, you better listen, because when this lady lays down the law, she means it.
And so my message to everybody, learn how to behave in our city, but especially learn how to behave in our downtown and our Fountain Square. And our officers will approach you if you start to behave disorderly on Fountain Square. Because these things sometimes start as a minor altercation and then evolve into something bigger. So do not come downtown, especially on Fountain Square, if you don't know how to behave.
Well, thank God she's here to tell us that. You better behave, doggone you. Oh, she's a complete joke. Much like for all my Cincinnati peeps that listen into this live stream, I love y'all, but man, y'all got some bad leadership. Just plain old bad leadership. Hadn't heard about as teens around 16 are up causing a lot of problems. Kids from my neighborhood hit the metro and go downtown and vice versa. Well, true. Yeah, it's really sad what's going on in Cincinnati. But that kind of leads into some other discussions that are going on. Again, this coming Saturday morning, our good buddy, oh, hello, dear. No, hey, look, you are helping a sick neighbor. That is totally understandable, but we are glad you are here, my dear. So, yeah. Oh, brother. Not... I'm doing my best to restrain my natural instinct of just jumping on the bandwagon of beating up the leadership that is the government of Cincinnati. Because first of all, I've got friends who live there. My girlfriend lives there. You know, it's like I don't want to do that. But I ain't gonna lie about it. These people are not striking me or instilling in me a lot of confidence. If I were living in Cincinnati, these people are not instilling in me a lot of confidence. Oh, well, no, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's very kind of you. Very kind of you to say. And I tell you what, if you enjoy what I do here and what we as Fedora Nation do here, man, come on back and bring about 10 or 20 of your buddies with you. Like I say, we're trying to grow this thing. So every person who finds their way to the electronic front porch, we're always glad to have. But I genuinely appreciate that. It's very nice of you to say. But Cincinnati's not the only city where this is happening. Have you guys heard about what's going on in Chicago right now? Holy cow, I heard about this today. Check this out.
Top of a new hour here as we approach it. Breaking right now, as we just mentioned, narco-terrorists in Mexico are reportedly working in coordination with domestic extremist groups to place bounties worth thousands of dollars on the heads of federal immigration officers in Chicago. That is according to DHS, who are now slamming what they are calling an organized campaign of terror against agents just trying to do their jobs. Tricia McLaughlin from DHS will join us with more on all of that in moments. And, as we also mentioned, we're about to hear from President Trump live at the White House.
Oh, yeah. Now, according to Governor Pritzker, there's nothing wrong in Chicago. Everything is perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, these National Guard troops from Texas need to go back down to Texas and defend the sovereign state of Texas. No, there's nothing wrong in Chicago, except for the fact that you got narco-terrorists in South America that are putting bounties on the heads of ICE agents. Nope, nothing wrong in Chicago. Not a thing. Everything's perfectly fine. Nothing to see here. Kit Cabello from Hard Lens Media is going to be here this coming Saturday morning, and I am dying to get his take on what's going on because that's his neck of the woods, man. That's Chicago. And I'm really interested to hear what he thinks about what Brandon Johnson's doing, what Governor J.B. Pritzker's doing, which, by the way, get ready, folks. If you think you enjoy it, you're not getting enough J.B. Pritzker, just wait till he announces that he's running for president. Yeah, really. Absolutely. Thumbs up on that one, sister. Ah, jeez. Yeah, we got narco-terrorists out of South America putting bounties on the heads of ICE agents in Chicago. And as if that weren't interesting enough, try this one on for size. Now, WWG1 sent me this meme, and it's funny, but it's kind of true. What happens when an Antifa member catches a fascist? Well, sometimes it's more like chasing your own tail. But I used that meme to kind of set up a couple of little snippets that I found. And I tell you what, the people of Portland, they've had enough. Now, we're hearing more and more from them. I've got a feeling they've been saying these things all along, but no one's been willing to listen. Well, thank God that Twitter right now is the true public square. I've got a clip here from a business owner who Nick Sortor interviewed, and I want you to hear their comments. This person lives about 50 feet away from an ICE facility. And if you really want to know what the people of Portland think, or at least one person thinks, do me a favor, check this out.
Good.
Is it loud in there at night?
Where?
In the, do you live here?
Yeah.
It's loud in there at night?
What you hear here is what you hear in that. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. What they're doing to these people here, there are people here that have been in Iraq War and Desert Storm, PSTD. You should see them shake in the elevator.
Oh, with PTSD.
And the little kids that with families walking through the elevator would be crying when the bombs all this stuff. It's really not a fun picture. And all this hype is just making. I mean, could you imagine living in one of these? I know 5 of them
I
live
would
there.
throw a fit.
Oh, and they do, but there's nothing we can do about it. It's terrible. I mean, I see families and little kids crying, I just get pissed off.
And I mean, they're stuck in a lease, so there's not much they can do, right?
Oh, it's 4 o'clock in the morning goes off, everybody goes home, get rested, and they start back about 11 o'clock in the morning. It's just unfair. It's just unfair.
It is unfair. Oh, so not like noise enforcement or anything?
Oh, the city council won't let them do noise enforcement. Before all this happened, the city council wouldn't let the police calm the curfews or anything here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, would you like to see the city council move forward with noise enforcement here?
Well, absolutely. These people, it's unfair for anybody in this building or the other one. Where's the other one? No, I guess this one. They've already shut the school down. They won't even let the kids do that daycare.
Yeah.
It's all full of,
So I was curious because, you do have apartments here and people live here, and I haven't talked to anybody
people
from
with
there
children,
yet.
two families up there with kids that you see and they're going down the hallway crying because of all the flash bombs going off all hours of the night. It really is. I mean, it's not fair what's going on. It's just not the right thing to do. There's no patriotism in any of this, and that's what's sad.
So I guess if they enforce, like, I mean, I don't know, if the city council, like, aren't the residents suing, or?
Well, we tried to shut it down, and they won't do anything about it. And so...
It's only gotten worse, really, it seems.
Oh, yeah. I mean, can you imagine? And it gets more now, especially on Friday and Saturday nights. It gets really bad. But just think of the people living here trying to put up with these loud...
Oh, no, I can't. I wouldn't be able to do it.
No, I already told them, I said, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to stay here anymore. This is just getting too much.
Will they let you out of the lease, or?
That is what the people of Portland are putting up with every day. And the city council, the city government is doing nothing to stop it. Not a thing. And in the meanwhile, Antifa keeps digging in, burrowing in, and you wonder, where do they get their stuff? How do they do this? Well, apparently, and this is from Andy No, another wonderful independent journalist. Portland Antifa tactics revealed. In order to hide the riot supplies and potentially weapons from Portland police during sweeps of their illegal encampment, Antifa have rented nearby storage space to stash their supplies. Check this out. Somebody who goes by the Twitter handle Tommy for Trump 420 caught them transporting supplies to their secret base inside the South Waterfront heated storage business. This is in addition to their Antifa warehouse on 677 South Lowell Street in Portland. Unbelievable. Yeah, and somebody should ask the question on the Portland City Council. What do you do here? Really? Yeah, but I mean, take a look at this. Watch this. These people are just flat out.
Oh, shit. Thank you for the donation, Kyle. You're awesome.
Look at this. They're just walking in with the stuff. Just sneak it. They're not even trying to sneak the stuff in. They're just being very casual about it.
Let's go see where they take it. Look, they're going inside here. Look at this. They're literally going inside of here. They're literally going inside of this place. What is this place?
You know, I said earlier, now that this thing in the Middle East is starting to wind down, maybe we can start paying attention to some other problems. Here's a problem I'd like to see us start paying attention to. But the sad part about it is it shouldn't take the federal government coming in to resolve stuff like this. What it should take is the Portland City Council and the Portland mayor and the Portland Police Department being like, we're not putting up with this crap anymore. We're not going to do it. And it's just absolutely sad. Totally sad. But yeah, we're going to have Cabello come on Saturday morning. I'm also trying to get a couple of folks from out in the Portland area. Somebody got back in contact with me that I've been trying to, I've reached out to earlier, and I'm also trying to reach out to his partner. If I can get the two of them on here, we're going to talk Portland, because what is going on out there right now is just, between there and Chicago, is absolutely insane. Well, that's a good question. That's a real good question, Gypsy. I don't know. And I'll tell you one thing, if ever there was a time for restructuring of city ordinances to let people be able to stand up for their own property and protect their own persons, it's now. I mean, Second Amendment advocates, they ought to be jumping up and down at the opportunity and saying, hey, why don't you let people, have concealed carry in your city? Oh, we can't do that. Why not? I mean, now is a golden opportunity to be pushing ideas that would make things more safe for the average citizen so that they could stand up for themselves. But yeah, I think that's a very fair question. Completely fair. Totally. So yeah, that be what be going on right now. Well, folks, I tell you what, it's about 8:15, and that's pretty much all I've got for the evening. We're going to be back this Thursday night at 7 p.m. for the Thursday night newsroom. Again, if you've got stories, if you've got memes, if you got links, hey, right there's my Twitter handle. Shoot me a DM or, tag me on Twitter. Hang on a minute. Salty just sent me something, and I think I know what this is. Hang on a second, folks. Hang on. Salty, I do not see it, my friend. And I'm even refreshing real fast, but I do not see it. It did not tag. But hey, send it to me again, and I'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at it. But yeah, we're going to be back this Thursday night, 7 p.m. Again, if you got stories, if you got memes, hey, right there's the Twitter handle. Hit me up with it. And in the meanwhile, if you're not subscribed to my channel on Rumble and on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Be like our friend MP. Found his way to the electronic front porch, and now, hey, I think he's coming back. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Be like MP. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and Rumble. And while you're at it, hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment and chat on this live stream tonight. I would greatly appreciate it. And while you're at it from there, please do me some favors. Share the link around and hit the bell for notifications. All right. We're going to get out of here. I love you guys. You guys have a great Tuesday evening. Hope you have a lot of fun. And please remember the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It is faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." I love you guys very much. I'll see you Thursday night at 7. Bye-bye.